Printing from Excel could be a fairly tricky task, especially if your worksheet doesn't fit on just one page. So in this video, we're going to look at a bunch of different things you can do to get your settings right, no matter how large or small your worksheet. And we're also going to take a look at how you can print to PDF instead of a printer. And if you'd like to grab a copy of the Excel file I use in this video, just click on the link in the description below. So on this worksheet, you can see that we have a sales report, and it's a fairly small report. It only takes up space from columns A to C and rows 1 to 8. So that should fit onto one page without any adjustments. So let's take a look at a print preview to see if that's true. So there's two ways you can do that. You can go to File in the top menu and then click on Print. And that brings up the print screen where we can see a whole bunch of settings over on the left and a print preview over on the right. And down the bottom, you can see how many pages there are to be printed. And it says page 1 of 1, which means it's all fitting on one page. That means that we can just hit the print button and print this report as is. But before we do, let's just take a look at a couple of things. First of all, we've got to make sure we've chosen the right printer. Secondly, we want to make sure we've chosen the right paper size. So I've got A4 chosen there, but you can change it to letter or legal or any other size if you need to. Another thing to check is whether you want the report to be portrait or landscape. So let's take a look at landscape. And there you can see that the report fits on one page landscape as well as portrait. So it's fine to choose either. But the one setting that I might change here is just to show the grid lines, because there's no lines between the numbers in this section over here. So to do that, you can just click on Page Setup and then go to the Sheet tab, check the grid lines box and press OK. And there you can see we now have some grid lines. There's also some grid lines showing at the top. So it's a matter of choice as to whether you want those to show or not. Once you're happy with the report, you just need to choose the number of copies that you want to print. I'll just print one copy. Click on the print button and the report has printed. Okay, so Excel took us back to this worksheet automatically when it printed. While we're here, I'll just show you the other way that you can go to your print preview. Instead of going through the menu, you can just press Control P, and that takes you straight to the print screen. So that's a good shortcut key you can use instead of having to click through the menu. Okay, so that's how you can print a worksheet that's the right size to print on one page. Next up, we're going to take a look at how to print one page that's the wrong size. And I'll start off with an explanation of what I mean by wrong size. As you can see on this worksheet, we've got a sales report and it goes from columns A to F and rows 1 to 8. So it's a fairly wide report. And if I press on Control P and have a look at the print preview, you can see that it's only got quarter 1 and quarter 2 on the first page. And if we go down to the bottom, you can see that's page 1 of 2. So this has been spread across 2 pages. And if I press the arrow, you can see that that's now brought up a second page that has Q3 and Q4 and also the total column. So Excel is guessing that we want this report to be printed across 2 pages when actually we want it to be on 1 page. But that's okay. There's just a few things we need to do to fix that up. Now, before we fix them up, I'll just take you back to the worksheet and I'll just show you that if you click on the View tab in the ribbon and then click on Page Break Preview, you can see how Excel has divided up the report. So this is page 1 over here on the left, and this is page 2. And as you can see, they're separated by a dotted line. So I'll just put that back onto normal. And then we'll start fixing up our report. Now I'll just show you that there's 2 places you can go to make your changes. The first is the Page Layout tab on the ribbon. And here you can see that we can do things like change the margins, change the orientation from portrait to landscape, change the paper size, and we can also set the print area. But what I'm going to do is make the changes over in the print preview section. So I'll just click out of there and press Control P again. And we'll make the changes here because we have the same options over here. Okay, now because this report is fairly wide, it's probably a good idea to print it in landscape rather than portrait. So that's the first thing that we can select. And there you can see that almost the entire report now fits onto one page. If I click onto page 2, we just have the total column now. Another thing we can do is go to the scaling options. And here you can see that we've got one called Fit Sheet on One Page, and that one sounds perfect. So let's click on that one. And there you can see that now we have the entire report on one page. We don't have page 2 anymore. Now I'll just also show you that if we have that option selected and we go back to portrait, it still fits the report onto one page, only this time it's portrait rather than landscape. So the report is kind of squashed up the top there. So let's put that back to landscape, and that looks perfect. And just so you know, if you did want to change the margins, you can open up this drop-down box and you can select wide margins. So you can see the margin around the outside of the report is now bigger, or you can select narrow margins. And there you can see the margins are quite small, which makes the report a lot bigger on the page. So if you did want to increase the size of the report, you can pick narrow margins. I'll go back to normal because I think that looks better. And now that the report fits, we'll just go into the page setup and we'll go into Sheet, check Gridlines and OK. Just so that we've got some lines between the numbers there. And once again, we can see that we've got the lines at the top. So it's a matter of personal choice as to whether you want that or not. Now that that's ready to go, we can just choose how many copies we want to print. Once again, I'll just print one copy and then click on print. And it's job done. Now that we've fixed up the print settings for the report, let's go back to the View tab and just have a look at the page break preview one more time by clicking on the button. And now you can see that we don't have the dotted line down the middle and that everything fits within the blue lines around the outside, which means it's all on one page. So I'll just put that back to normal. And that's how you can take a worksheet that's the wrong size to print on one page, adjust some settings, and then print it on just one page. Now we're going to take a look at how you can print a rather large worksheet on just one page. Now on this worksheet, you can see that we have a fairly large sales report where we have the first name and last name of each salesperson, their sales numbers for each month, and a total on the right. And if we scroll down, we can see that we also have a total down the bottom of the report, and we also have an average. And what we want to do is print this report out, but we don't want to print the averages. So let's go to our print preview first by pressing Control P. And here you can see that Excel has divided this up into 20 different pages. So if I press on the arrow and scroll through the pages, you can see that Excel has had a guess as to how we might like this report to look, and it's completely wrong. So we're going to need to fix this up. Now the first thing we're going to do is we're going to set it up so it excludes the averages down the bottom. So I'll just go back to the worksheet. And the best way to do that is to select the entire area that we want to print and then set it as the print area. And to do that, let's scroll down to the bottom again. Click on the cell at the bottom corner, Control Shift and left arrow until we get all the way over to column A. So I pressed it twice then, and then still holding Control and Shift, up arrow, and again, until we select the entire area that we want to print, and then we can let go of Control and Shift. Go to the Page Layout tab in the ribbon, click on Print Area, and then Set Print Area. Okay, if I just click off and scroll back up to the top, and we'll press Control P, Now we still have 20 pages, but if we go and find a page that has the total down the bottom, you can see that the average is no longer there. So it stops at the total line, which is exactly what we want. So that's step one done. The next thing we might do, because this is actually a fairly wide report, is we'll set the orientation to landscape instead of portrait. And you can do that there, or if you press Control P and come back here, you can do it here as well. Okay, so now you can see that it has fit more columns in on this first page. So it goes all the way across to April now, but we actually want it to fit all of the columns. So the way to do that is to come down to the scaling drop down and choose Fit All Columns on One Page. And now you can see we have the first name, last name, all of the months, and the total columns, all on the one page. Now, if I come over to the scroll bar, just go down to the next page, and the next page, you can see that the report is fitting on 3 pages, but we don't have that heading at the top of every page. We've only got it at the top of the first page, but we do want it at the top of every page. Now, the way to do that is to go back to the worksheet, click on the Print Tiles button, click on the arrow next to rows to repeat at top, and then hover over one of the rows, left click with the mouse and hold it down, drag it down until you've selected all of the rows, and then let go of the mouse button. And as you can see up the top, that's selected rows 1 to 3, which is exactly what we want. So we'll let go of the mouse button, click on the down arrow, and then click on OK. Press on Control P to go back to our print preview. And now we can see we've got the headings at the top of page 1, page 2, and page 3. The only other thing you might want to do is just add the grid lines. So we can go to Page Setup, Sheet, check the box for grid lines and click on OK. And there you can see we've got grid lines between all of the numbers, and we've also got grid lines at the top. Okay, so the report looks pretty good, so we can print it out now. All you need to do is just double check that you've got the right printer selected. Select how many copies you want to print. I'll just print 1 copy. Click on Print. And that's done. The report has now printed on 3 pages. Before we go, we'll just go back to the View tab in the ribbon, click on Page Break Preview, and if we scroll up and down, we can see each of the 3 pages. So this is page 1, and then there's the dotted line, and then there's page 2, and then there's the dotted line, and then page 3, and you can see down the bottom that the average line is not included in the print area. So that's how you can adjust your settings to print a large worksheet on multiple pages. We're going to finish off this video by seeing how you can print to PDF instead of to a printer. And to do that, just take any worksheet that you've got set up for printing, press Control P, double check that all of your settings are correct by having a look at the print preview. And once you're happy with everything, go up to the printer drop-down and choose Microsoft Print to PDF or any other PDF option that you can see. Choose the number of copies that you want to print and then press the print button. Choose the folder that you want to save the PDF to and then give it a name. Make sure Save as Type is a PDF document and then click on the Save button. And that worksheet has now been printed as a PDF. When I open the file in a PDF viewer, this is what it looks like. And as you can see, all 3 pages have printed correctly as a PDF. So that's it for this video. I hope it helped you with any printing issues you're having in Excel, but feel free to leave a comment below if you have any suggestions for any other videos about printing in Excel. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.